Welcome back. So I'm still with Moses Rupert's narrative. I'll jump back in. Having been in the habit of going over many slave states with my master, I had good opportunities of witnessing the harsh treatment which was adopted by masters towards their slaves. As I have never read or heard of anything connected with slavery so cruel as what I have myself witnessed, it will be well to mention a case or two. A large farmer, Colonel McQuilla in Cashaw County, South Carolina, was in the habit of driving nails into a hogshead so as to leave the point of the nails just protruding in the inside of the cask. Into this he used to put his slaves for punishment and roll them down a very long and steep hill. My God, I've heard from several slaves, though I had no means of ascertaining the truth of the statement, that in this way he killed 6 or 7 of his slaves. This plan was first adopted by a Mr. Perry who lived on the Catawba River and has since been adopted by several planters. Another was that of a young lad who had been hired by Mr. Bell, a member of a Methodist church, to hoe 3/4 of an acre of cotton per day. Having been a domestic slave, he was not able to accomplish the task assigned to him. On the Saturday night, he left 3 or 4 rows to do on Sunday. On the same night, it rained very hard, by which the master could tell that he had done some of the rows on Sunday. On Monday, his master took and tied him up to a tree in the field and kept him there for the whole of that day and flogged him at intervals. At night, when he was taken down, he was so weak that he could not get home, having a mile to go. 2 white men who were employed by Mr. Bell put him on a horse, took him home, and threw him down on the kitchen floor while they proceeded to their supper. In a little time they heard some deep groans proceeding from the kitchen. They went to see him die. He had groaned his last. Thus Mr. Bell flogged this poor boy even to death. For what? For breaking the Sabbath, when he, his master, had set him a task on Saturday which it was not possible for him to do, and which he, if he did not do, no mercy would have been extended towards him. So much for the regard of this Methodist for the observance of the Sabbath. The general custom in this respect is that if a man kills his own slave, no notice is taken of it by the civil functionaries. But if a man kills a slave belonging to another master, he is compelled to pay the worth of the slave. In this case, a jury met, returned a verdict of willful murder against this man, and ordered him to pay the value. Mr. Bell was unable to do so. Poor white man. But a Mr. Cunningham paid the debt and took this Mr. Bell with this recommendation for cruelty to be his overseer. So instead of being punished, he was rewarded for killing a human being. It will be observed that most of the cases here cited are those in respect to males. Many instances, however, in respect to females might be mentioned, but are too disgusting to appear in this narrative. The cases here brought forward are not rare, but the continued feature of slavery. But I must now follow up with the narrative as regards myself in particular. I stayed with this master for several months, during which time we went on very well in general. In August 1831, this was my first acquaintance with any date. I happened to hear a man mention this date, and as it excited my curiosity, I asked what it meant. They told me it was the number of the year from the birth of Christ. On this date, August 1831, some cows broke into a crib where the corn is kept and ate a great deal. For this, his slaves were tied up and received several floggings. But myself and another man, hearing the groans of those who were being flogged, stayed back in the field and would not come up. Upon this, I thought to escape punishment. As usual, on the Monday morning, however, I heard my master flogging the other man who was in the field. He could not see me. It was a field of Indian corn, which grows to a great height. Being afraid that he would catch me and dreading a flogging more than many others, I determined to run for it. And after traveling 40 miles, I arrived at the estate of Mr. Crawford in North Carolina, Mecklenburg County. Having formerly heard people talk about the Free States, I determined upon going thither, and if possible, in my way, to find out my poor mother, who was in slavery several hundred miles from Chester. But the hope of doing the latter was very faint, and even if I did, it was not likely that she would know me, having been separated from her when 5 or 6 years old. So I'll stop here. So yeah, you see cruelty upon cruelty upon cruelty. But he's going to get out, so don't fear. Thanks so much for listening.